deserves to watch good League of Legends.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, I've been watching the stream the whole time. It hasn't been an issue for me. If it is an issue for you at home, try to refresh it. If it's staying black, though, I don't even know if you can hear me. So we will try to help it work it any way we can and get that working so the most number of people can enjoy this. They have been incredible games, and we're seeing the bans come down. Finally, Shen is banned from mTw.NA. Probably scared that Orbit would pick that up. Morgana also banned, and an Ahri ban. I suppose afraid that Mandatory Cloud might pick up Ahri, but Mandatory Cloud has been, hooked on Morgana so far, and so that first, that second Morgana ban is a little bit interesting, signals that they might be changing this up, and I suppose we're not willing to high pick that Morgana and keep it away from Newbie Pooh Bear on the opposing side.
I like saying that name, Nubby Pooh Bear. Always reminds me of Winnie the Pooh, like back to my childhood. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie.
Yes.
Way back when. But yeah, Morgana ban, that's definitely been the big favorite out of Mandatory Cloud, but they banned it themselves, and that's a little curious. But no, some big heavy hitting bans, especially if you got also factored Nocturne and Ezreal. I mean, Ezreal's been the Balls go-to champion 2 games in a row now, so, what else does Balls play?
Well, I guess we're going to see. I mean, he is actually stellar at all sorts of AD carries. I don't know what he's going to pick up. Might go for the Graves. That's always a safe pick. Of course, not going to go for that Urgot. It is banned along with Alistar and Malphite. We do see that first pick Karthus. So Karthus, tends to be banned or picked just because of that global presence. Did get the cooldown on his ultimate nerfed, but he's still stellar. You just have to time your ultimates a little bit better, not waste them, because of course you're going to be able to do them a little bit less frequently. We do see a first pick hovering over Nautilus. That would not surprise me whatsoever. Hai is very good at taking Nautilus into the jungle, and he is the, probably the highest valued jungler still up on the board, with Shen and Alistar being taken out, Malphite as well. One thing that there hasn't been a ban of is Lee Sin, and I would be interested in seeing if xSmithy picks that up. Certainly a great Lee Sin player, but I don't know if it's going to work into this particular composition.
I'm just checking out Elo Buff here. I decided, you know what? Let's find out what else Balls can play. So Elo Buff actually helping out the ggC, giving us all accounts to use their... it's a pretty clean system, I gotta say. It's really sweet. I'm looking at this Ezreal, 136 games played, and then the next AD carry from there is Corki at 37. So,
wow.
Could be literally anybody. Just looking at this profiling here on Elo Buff for Balls, it's just... he likes his Ezreal, man. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, he likes his Ezreal, but like I said, he is going in for that Graves. I kind of figured if you don't get your most preferred AD champion, Graves is a great fallback just because he's so tanky, he's so effective, brings that smokescreen utility all throughout the game. It's effective during laning phase, but it's also great for those team fights. On the other side, we actually see the Vladimir being picked up by Orbit, so going to deny Rain Man of that. And we see a Maokai pickup. I guess mTw.NA is like, wow, Maokai was super effective last game, not going to go against it again. But is that going to be a Maokai middle? I have seen that. I have not seen it in competitive play. I've seen it in solo queue, more frequently certainly in the jungle, but can go in the middle. Has actually decent AP ratios. I believe Brax 10 sometimes plays that in solo queue. Would be surprised to see it go in the middle. Will likely be played by xSmithy in the jungle, but I always get excited for the potentiality of unusual picks and unusual positions.
I'm checking out Mandatory Cloud as we speak. I mean, geez, this system is just great. Elo Buff, guys, check that out. Rise, Ahri, Karthus, AP Ezreal? That's interesting. Twisted Fate, Cass, and Vlad, all top games. But, man, what's scary to me is his AP carry roll, 734 games. The rest of it is like 200, 100, 100. That's a lot of things that you can choose from. So let's see. Nocturne's out, Ezreal's out, Morgana's out, Ahri's out.
Well, so he actually is going to play Karthus. I completely, entirely forgot. They first picked the Karthus, got way too excited about, Jungle Maokai. So who will, almost undoubtedly be playing that Karthus middle? So we're probably waiting for a top and support pick from mTw.NA. On the other side, we have a Nunu and Corki. So that's going to be a very aggressive lane there, and we might see Jace on Rayman again, or Rayman on Jace one more time. Of course, they pulled that out in their first game, and he ended up going 12-0. So in competitive play, that's very impressive. In any sort of play, that's very impressive. If you go into a bot game and go 12-0, I would be impressed with you. But Rainman, of course, doing it on the highest stage is going to lock in that Jace.
Well, we did see a very strong showing from him that first game, so hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And again, you can see this combo. It's been pretty consistent from everyone. It's just always with the Soraka. Maybe Soraka, again, you know, that one of those top tier picks. We did see her kind of drop a little bit like Sona back in the I Am Kiev era. It subsequently got nerfed. Janna was a huge pick. And now it does look like, you know, we're going back to a little bit of a spammy bottom lane. But Balls, you know, he's going to be Graves. He's not Ezreal this round. But either way, we do have ourselves yet another Soraka.
Yes, we do have ourselves another Soraka, and a really kind of interesting lineup here, because mTw.NA are picking three of the champions that really punished them last game, that Graves and Soraka combination bottom lane, and the jungler Maokai, who was used last game by CLG Black to great effect, was able to kind of counter the AoE team composition from mTw.NA. So they're like, okay, well, we got beat by it, now we're going to use it, and we'll see if they're going to be able to be incredibly effective with that. There is that Nunu Corki combination bottom lane. It's not really my favorite combination, but it's going to be able to give you a ton of consistent damage, maybe enough to, you know, outdeal the healing of that Soraka. Of course, we'll probably take an Ignite to help counter, and there is an Aurelia pickup. So, you know, last time we saw Udyr against that Jace, and Udyr wasn't really able to effectively close the gap between the two champions, wasn't able to go on the aggressive, so kind of just had to sit back and passively farm. We're going to be able to see now if Orbs Yazuki can really jump in on Jace and win those trades. Will certainly be a tougher test for the Rain Man, I think, because he's going to be forced into those engages, might be forced to disengage from those engages, has the abilities to do that, but I think it will be a stronger matchup, a harder matchup than it was previously when he faced up against Udyr.
Man, I'm always a fan of watching an Aurelia just do her stuff top lane. To me, I don't know, that's just a really awesome thing to see. I do like the aggressiveness that we're seeing bottom. That Nunu, unless that is going to be changed to a... I don't think that will be changed into a jungle Nunu. I mean, he did recently get a little bit buffed. He is a bit more powerful there, but yeah, I think that this jungle Nautilus is too strong.
Too strong, yeah. Jungle Nautilus incredibly effective, although support Nautilus would work as well. I mean, his key is all the CC he brings to the table, but his ganks are so good because of that CC. He would be decent in a support role too, because he doesn't need a ton of items to, you know, be able to get in there, you know, land all of his CC and back on out. But a great thing we do see from Lemon Nation, consistently picking that exhaust and heal, not taking flash, but rarely, if ever, gets caught out of position. You know, I haven't actually been privy or able to watch the two previous games. Apparently Orbit has actually fallen in the two earlier games today, but they've been on a really good streak of winning these tournaments, these online tournaments, so I expect them to be able to turn it around here, and it's actually going to have to be a turnaround for both games. mTw.NA lost their last matchup as well, so it's kind of a grudge match, people trying to break their ways of losing here. I do certainly like the purple team, that team from Orbit, but they don't have that double global, you know, ability. Soraka and Karthus can change around so many fights without even moving out of their lane. It's really going to be a battle, I feel, of that top lane. Is Jace going to be as incredibly effective as he was last time, or will Aurelia be a decent counter to her? Aurelia tends to be a good counter to the ranged top lanes just because she can Blade Surge on top of them, Equilibrium Strike, and burst them down pretty effectively.
Quite correct. You know, it's really still up in the air a little bit about Jace, as you said. I mean, we don't have a lot of competitive information to base some of this analysis off. All we've seen is Rainman just do work against Udyr with it. So, I mean, that's the extent of my competitive knowledge of him at this point. But you know what? I just want to say right now, a big thanks to our sponsors at Arcade. You know, without them, it wouldn't be possible to run the ggClassic and bring you guys these plays. You know, we have all three continents here, and guys, just go check them out. Enter the contest, post, do your stuff, because they're awesome. And you know what? They're so awesome that they're going to lead us into the game. So guys, we're going to see you on the other side. Last game from both Forecourt and Sotir. Muffin Cutie leading the way for MTW. Lemon Nation here on Orb. Stay tuned. We'll be bringing you right back.
If you are sitting with your seat backs in their full upright position and your tray tables locked in front of you, then we have done our job. We hope that you'll continue choosing AOD for all your musical transportation needs in the future. This was Area Defect featuring Vizix and Aurora Borealis on Ionia.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are now loading into our last game here from Soter and Forecourt Jester, but the ggC is not nearly done for the day. Let's bring it in. Alright, Soter, we are loading up. Looking at a little bit of these skins. Soraka letting us down on that top lane, but Full Metal Jace is just such a hot skin.
It is really awesome. I mean, but yeah, certainly Muffin Cutie kind of letting down their team, who was 4 out of 5 skins, but Orbit really letting the nation down. I mean, you got to run more skins than that. Only one skin, Frostbite Aurelia, is really cool, but come on, guys, you're pro players, represent. Have your sponsors get you some RP so you can buy those skins so we can look at all of them. I mean, I feel like even Riot should be chipping in there just so we can all see them on stream when these tournaments go live. It is great advertising. And we see a lot of pings coming down from Orbit. Looks like they're going to loop around and invade that blue buff. So that should be a little bit of excitement coming in at level 1. The invade probably happening. And I don't think it's actually happened today in our games. Of course, games have been going on concurrently on stream number 2. There is not one over there right now, as we're going to be rushing through having this game, and then we will have 4-Not versus Steel G Black immediately following this, without a stream on the channel, the second channel. But then once we get TPA into the mix, TPA and CLG Prime, we're of course playing from Korea, then we will have 2 channels running simultaneously at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Taipei Assassins versus mTw.NA and CLG Prime versus 4-Not going at the same time. So we do see some wards coming around here, some defensively placed wards, and Orbit is actually not dissuaded. It looks like they still want to go in for this jungle invade.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen basically all 3 types of openers in these games. I mean, we saw the EU defense. We're now seeing the 5-man go into the blue. We saw, a little bit of exploration in our first games, but ultimately just ended up being nothing. I really do have to wonder, are we going to be sitting here for blue? I mean, Maokai, he doesn't need to start at that blue, and you can see he's already now stacking for those wraiths. He might even duck down straight to red, or he'll go straight over to wolves, but, Smithy is going to pick that up real quick. Does not look like we're going to be doing a huge at this blue.
No, he is coming back to blue, so he's doing the race to blue start, which is not unusual, but Rain Man is going to get caught out here, does have to burn his flash, but does not get away, gets snared by that passive from Nautilus, and a lot of life on Rain Man, but everyone thinks he's going to die. Oh, he does actually die to the Ignite, but Nabi Pooh Bear flashes in to get that extra auto attack off, so waste that flash, didn't necessarily need it. Yuzuki would have picked up the kill, so that is a successful invade there, 500 gold in the lead, but sadly, the lanes are going to be a little bit slow to get to, and actually Niantenso getting a little bit punished in that bottom lane by Balls and Muffin Cutie. They're like, oh, you're going to get taken down. Next Smithy causing a little bit of harassment, but does not pick up that blue buff. Hai gets the blue buff, does not hit level 2, but is going to, continue along in his farm. So overall, a pretty good strategy. Oh my goodness, Mandatory Cloud. So much action in the first 2 minutes here.
As I said, we've seen all the openers now. That was a really good first kill, though, on top of Rayman. Like, as soon as he saw that, bam, the flash, trying to get through his portal. But now that Irelia has the first kill, she went back. She didn't actually pick up anything to try to snowball off of that. She just got a few extra pots.
Yeah, that's a little bit unusual. So we'll see what eventually that turns into, but probably just confident that they can, sit in the top lane without that extra item. One thing is Lemon Nation taking a long time to get back down there, had to make sure that they secured that blue buff. So Nintenso has been all on his own, trying to trade, and actually he's been doing a decent job. Ball's getting pretty low, but of course Soraka will be able to heal him back up there. Insofar as farm goes, only 4 on Corgi to the 15 already on Balls. So he has, used that advantage, used that 2-man advantage to, get that little bit of extra farm. And of course, oh wow, Balls does get ignited. Valkyrie coming in, flashes, and a kill from the Nintenso. And now Muffin Cutie is in a lot of danger as well. The exhaust goes down, but will that be enough? Ooh, the flash just gets Muffin Cutie out. Smithy now joining the party. So much action. Why is everyone so excited about this?
Because it's the last game by the forecourt and the Sotir. That's why. But Smithy, he tries to punish this. It will be mandatory Cloud getting the kill. And
Ooh.
Smithy looks like he'll be at least safe for now. I'm a little curious why Vladimir actually didn't join the party. We'll just make it an all random, all bottoms. Serious. But, a lot of action. But they've also been able to accomplish a lot with that. 2-1. We're now up a lot of gold. And again, like that top lane does look like we're actually saving something for Irelia, because she's now gone back again. Ruby Crystal long sword coming out, but we tried to get that advantage going in that bottom lane, and we punished MTW for it. And I guess Orb is just very defensive of their early game.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually the gold is about even now, even though Orbit does have that 1-kill lead, 5.9 to 6,000 gold. Lemon Nation, kind of doing work down there, being aggressive, even though he's all alone, not too scared of that Graves. And we do have a gank incoming top. Yuzuki just hiding in that bush, waiting for Rainman to push up, but Rainman might actually head back now. We shall see what happens. Oh, is he going to walk right into that bush? No, he actually... he knows. He had a sense that someone might be in that bush, so he sends the shock blast, noticed that it goes off on someone, and now he's just going to back out, so he's going to evade that potential gank coming in from high. So really good job. That's why I can never play top lane, because I don't have that sixth sense, the sense that, a jungler is about to come and gank me. Rainman clearly does have it as he just backs on out there. But a great thing was, essentially everyone in the game's flash was down, except Aurelia's at one point. It looks like Mandatory Clouds has come back up, but so many flashes were down, so many summer spells were used, and now Mandatory Cloud is going to be very happy his flash is up, as he might get some aggression taken down on him, but no, Hai is just going to back out again. So kind of two ganks that Hai really wanted to go for. He's been thwarted in both of those attempts. So that's too bad. We've been neglected of seeing a little bit more action. But he's going to keep on his aggressive path. I don't believe he knows that tri-bush has been warded. He's going to roam around and just continue farming up and looking for those ganks.
Now we're still keeping this aggression on the bottom lane. Balls and Soraka are still trying to push in this Corki Nunu combination, and so far 1-1 Corki, 0-0-2 for that Nunu. Nunu actually does have himself a purple ward, so he will be able to defeat a little bit of this aggression by counter warding a little bit. But look at this really aggressive ward that Soraka placed right by the tower. So like if I switch to their vision, they can see right up through the lane. I wonder if that's to try to avoid any Nautilus lane ganks.
That could be. I'm very confused about that. I didn't see exactly when they placed it, which might give us a better idea of why exactly it's there. But it's actually going to be incredibly effective because Nautilus is actually coming through the lane right now. So a great ward there, a great thought by Muffin Cutie, and they are going to be safe. Graves knows that was coming. He's just going to back out of the lane, just sit back, relax, wait until the lane pushes back towards him so he can be completely safe there. And now Highline has actually been really been thwarted in 3 consecutive gank attempts. He went top lane, Yuzuki was hiding in the bush, went mid lane, but he was just, kind of outweighted by that Karthus, and then he went bottom and was spotted by that ward. So things not going great on the gank attempts, but everything else in the game pretty even. A little bit of a kill lead from Orbit, not a gold lead thus far, though it's very, very close. And I'm impressed by Rayman, 31 farm, but he is falling significantly behind to that Aurelia, who did get that advantage of that first blood and is at 48 CS, so actually 17 up on Rainman so far.
Yeah, with that extra kill in her pocket, I mean, she did have an item over him for a while. He did eventually go and get himself a Dornblade, nice quick stat boost, but at the same time, we also have now Smithy coming out, making his presence known, saying, hey, back off, this is my lane. Jace needs a little bit of farm, but it's not going to be, super effective by any means. Now we do have that Nautilus gank coming in again, but he went in through a ward and he's sitting in a ward, which means that it's a good time to go do those golems, and Ball should be able to tank this no problem, especially with the heals from Muffin Cutie.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like a Smithy going to kill those golems and just kind of wait around for that top lane for a potential gank on Yazuki. Now Yazuki is pushing, so Smithy will likely sneak up behind them. Just going to camp out that brush a little bit. Yazuki does not know this is going to happen, is none the wiser, does not have wards anywhere, is going to get jumped upon.
Oh, Rain Man doing a nice turnaround, gets the hammer right off on top of Yazuki, and she tried to flash!
No!
Oh, that's going to be really hurtful. I mean, the Karthus ult coming out as well, the flash from Smithy should be enough to take her down, and yes, the continued aggression with the help of Karthus gets himself an assist. That flash was the entire reason that she definitely did not get away out of that.
Yeah, with that flash, probably would have, gotten away. The flashes actually had to be expended by both Maokai and and Jace to follow up on it, but a really great play by Rainman, knocking them back towards his own tower. They are likely going to lose this dragon. No, they're actually able to get down there fast enough to challenge it, and they were going to pinch in on Orbit. So Orbit does lose the Yazuki top lane. They're like, okay, well, jungler is top, and generally when the jungler goes top, that means, okay, we have a little bit of time where we can rush this dragon. But they just were not able to take it out fast enough. Orbit did come down. Smithy ran straight down there, and they were able to challenge it and force Orbit to back off. So a kill and no losses of the dragon. That is certainly a big advantage for them to have thwarted that. And another nice thing for Highline, actually going to be able to pick up the blue buff. Vladimir doesn't necessarily need it. The cooldown is, of course, always a nice thing, but the jungler being able to keep that blue buff is so nice, so essential. Will increase his clear speed, exponentially. He'll just be able to spam all of his spells every camp he goes to, and he's going to be pretty happy about that. He's probably not going to be incredibly happy about Nubi Puber. Looked like he was going to steal those Wraiths, decides to back off and not take them. So Hai does get that farm, but the Wraiths kind of were in a disjointed position, didn't allow for as clean of a clear as he may have liked. So now we see really kind of unusual patterns. It looks like Balls and Muffin Cutie are going to go back and take these golems every time they're up, I guess afraid of the potential of an inlane gank, and of course Muffin Cutie, with all those wards, was really protecting them very well down bottom. Did not want to be ganked by that Nautilus, but doesn't have any more wards, so is a little bit scared. Was going to head back, decides not to. It looks like they might have noticed the red buff was being taken up top, so they felt, okay, we can go ahead, take out this extra minion wave, force the bottom lane from Orbit back, and then we can probably go back and buy ourselves. Muffin Cutie is going to go back. Of course, if you're a support and you don't have any wards, you're in a very dangerous position. For both you and for your bottom lane partner.
I was actually looking at the vision of both teams as we're going to check out this Nautilus, just camping out up top. And I don't think they actually knew he was taking the red, but at the same time, Maokai had already gone that way and cleared it, so it might have come up on his map. Looking at Rainman up top with Yazuki, and we are going to get the Maokai ultimate going off, and I'm not too sure it's going to be enough to save the Rainman. He is going to be in for a little bit of a long haul. Is going to get the speed buff
speed
off,
boost.
And now Smithy is able to really just keep them in place. Rainman even able to get the kill out of that. Oh, Nubby Puvar came up here, one combo, and he was out, but still a good 2-for-1 exchange. And I do think that Raidman made the best out of that. We might have discounted him right there, but that extra speed turning into a hammer, going through the acceleration gate, really just, it shows us a lot about what Jace can do. You said, when we did see him that first game, might not have as many escapes as a normal top laner, but I think he can just escape just fine.
Yeah, obviously he can use that knockback, and then that acceleration gate. Was so impressed. It looked like he was going to get away. Of course, did not escape with his life in the end there. But a good job in allowing that fight to be essentially turned around. And now he's going to go back into top lane, and he still has Ignite underneath his belt, whereas Yazuki does not have Ignite. Did burn that in that fight. And also, both of them still have that flash down from that initial gank, so that should be coming up relatively soon. Karthus as well has his ultimate, so Jace has a lot of power under his belt, but it's not really going to matter because Yazuki actually heading towards bottom lane, heading towards this dragon, so they might pick it up here. Actually is has completed the Sheen, so going towards that early Trinity Force, it looks like. Yesterday we actually saw both Wicked and Cruiser the Bruiser using the Berserker Greaves on Aurelia just to get that extra attack speed for that true damage. I'm not certain what boots we're going to see come down from Yozuki. I thought that was really kind of innovative and unusual that we saw the Berserker Greaves yesterday, but we have to wait and see what Yuzuki's actually going to pick up here. And we do see that first dragon coming down for Orbit, so good job on them, keeping that gold pretty close. They are down 700 here, 1 kill, but did get that extra little dragon, so that should help them out a little bit. Aurelia still ahead up top lane by 9 CS, but that gap is significantly lessened over time as Rainman has been able to farm up, overcome that early disadvantage he had where Aurelia picked up that first blood kill, and now actually only has 2 deaths to her name since then.
I'm also just taking a quick look here at the bottom as, there's a little bit of a range war going on between Balls and Corki, but Balls, 116, he might have a death, but he does have that BF sword about the 13-minute mark, which is, it's not the Trinity Force we've been seeing him rock, but of course it is now Graves instead of Ezreal, but he is able to really stay about 2 creep waves ahead of Corki at the same time. 96, Corki does have that BF as well, but at this point, it's pretty much neck and neck. There's about 2, maybe 3 creep waves difference, and that's the kill between them. That's pretty much about it between these two.
Yeah, we actually saw Balls just rush in, use collateral damage. Of course, there is no sustain down bottom for Orbit, and now they're actually going in for this dive. Wow, Twisted Advance on Lemonation. Lemonation, of course, does not have Flash, has to run back to turret, and the Karthus ultimate will pick him up. And now Smithy wants to go on, but Hai is there to kind of defend, dissuade them from going after Niantic so anymore. So really good job just using all that harass, knowing that they don't have any inherent sustain with that Nunu and Corki combination.
Hi, just hanging out in the
in that bush.
Like there's a big daddy in that bush. Really? Yeah, well, he's a big guy. But, right now what Balls and Muffin Cutie are doing is they're just really, they're taking out 100% of these creeps, and they're going to allow the creep wave to just push into that tower, start chipping it down. At the same time, they're staying up here for the presence because they do want to steal out this blue. Hai's going to come in here, however, and does not look like he got the smite. Looks like Balls is able to actually pick up the kill. The Maokai ultimate coming down, reducing the damage. Hai is... Oh, he is going to drop to the buckshot, but, Muffin Cutie is playing a little bit of a body shield situation here on top of Balls, and he doesn't have a lot of health. Is Nian going to go for it with the Valkyrie? No, he does decide to be a bit more cautious, and again, we clear out the creep waves, and we allow those creeps to just get that free tower. So ultimately, mTw came out very far ahead in that exchange.
Yeah, absolutely, and now they have the 2,000, almost 3,000 gold lead, 3 kills. Really good pickup for them. They got the Nunu bottom. They then picked up Hai. It was just really didn't want to let that blue buff go, which is understandable. Blue buff is so nice to have, and now that Balls has it, means he can even spam his abilities more so than he's been doing, and he's been doing it, very frequently. Has that infused from Soraka, of course, up to level 3, level 5 Astral Blessing. No pickups in Star Call yet for Muffin Cutie, so kind of a defensive build without that Star Call, but Graves is doing enough damage on his own, as we've seen so far. Does have a big lead there, but he is getting into a little hairy situation now. It does have to flash out.
Yeah, Balls may be going a little bit too deep. We are going to get the slow from the ultimate on top of Lemonation. It is going to be enough just to keep him in place, allows Nian to pick up that kill. So again, we might be farming better for Graves, but at this point, if we can keep these creeps and these kills going for Corki, we are going to get back to par in fairly short order. And this also means Corki now has blue, and he's also
which is huge.
Level 6, right? So a lot of spam can now come out of him.
Right, and obviously kind of the weakness of that new Corki bottom lane, no inherent sustain, and probably some mana issues from Corki. Now that Corki does no longer build mana immune, of course he runs into issues if he wants to spam his spells. Blue is a huge pickup for him, and we do see Mandatory Cloud coming down. They probably want to get revenge. They probably want to get that blue buff back, but not going to have that opportunity in the end, and so knows something is coming. They do back out, him and Lemonation, so great job on their part to pick up that kills. Balls, we've seen time and time again, very aggressive in his playstyle, but that time he got to lane just a little bit before Muffin Cutie, and he kind of paid for it, as he was just permaslowed by those Ice Blasts, by the Nunu ultimate, and was eventually taken down by Niantic and giving up that blue buff, which, they had to work pretty hard to pick up that blue buff in the enemy's jungle, so certainly not something you want to give away like that.
Well, c'est la vie. I mean, if they see you overextend, and the name of the game is punishment in that regard. So again, like Balls, he's just going to keep pushing this lane, and the farther he keeps pushing, the less viable it is just to go all the way back to grab those golems, because he's just that much farther. So we might start seeing him roaming a bit. Looks like maybe he's going to head over to the red, but what are the other lanes doing? A lot of this action is in this bottom lane. So, let's check out Yazuki up top.
Yeah, Yazuki doing a decent job of farming, 136 to Jace's 110, so, still has that lead, but Rayman playing very, very passively, keeping his distance, doesn't want to be Blade Surge too. Of course, Aurelia can Blade Surge through those minions, kill one, and then jump onto Rayman, but there hasn't been an incredible amount of aggression top lane so far. 1-2-2 is the score for both of those top lanes. Oh, but as soon as I say that, there is aggression middle and top at the same time.
Well, this is all that really Balls can do. I mean, he's resorting to roaming. They tried to go down on Nubby Poobar, but too much went down in order to get the kill, and now they are just really facing this big aggression. Mandatory, however, just hits like a truck. He does have himself that needlessly big rod as well as the Rod of Ages, able to take down Nunu, but, I mean, it's Nunu, like he's the support. At this point, he's 0-2-3, now amassing, tied for the most deaths on his team. Could have went a lot worse had Nubby Poobar actually reacted a little bit differently, but he did use everything he could to get out of it. He's alive, and so is the tower, and it's unfortunate that they lost Nunu, but at the same time, could have went, again, much worse.
Yeah, it certainly could have, and it looked like it might have been able to be turned around, and Nancy Tsogi was just getting up there a little bit late. Yazuki was also going towards them, and, they did just lose our support, but they are all prepared and ready to do this dragon, so it looks like they're going to be able to pick this one up. I don't think an actual, valiant defense is going to be made. Smithy throws a sapling in there, knows that it's, knows it's going to come in, and the smite actually came in a little bit early. Corki had to pick up that dragon kill. Luckily, it was not the sapling that picked it up, and was not a little sapling steal, which would have been pretty cheeky and relatively amusing for us, but not so for Orbit.
Yeah, I would like to see that on League Top 5 one day.
So we actually see Jace pushing down that tower top. Is he going to be able to get it? Looks like he is going to be able to get it. Aurelia taking the long road back because he was probably a little bit afraid that a gank might have been meeting him halfway there.
Just barely, though. Like, that came down to hairs at that point. I mean, at this time, right, he does have those options to get out of Yazuki. Every time she dashes into him, he just shift it into hammer, play golf with her body, and just run the other way. Put up an acceleration gate, maybe even change back to the gun and get off, as you did see a big shock pulse there. But yeah, again, Jace been doing alright. 134. He's still down a little bit in creeps, but he's also looks like he's not been enjoying himself looking at the items. Look at that, the triple Dorans into Phage, whereas Aurelia, much more confident, doesn't even have the tier 2 boots, but she does have the Trinity.
Right, absolutely. And it looks like Jace, of course, will build towards that Trinity, as we saw last game, but wanted to get himself that extra health early on. And the Rayman's rune page actually was pretty interesting. I didn't mention this before the game, but has some damage, but then actually had, some flat health and health per level. So not really going for that armor so much, but making sure that Aurelia's true damage couldn't harass him all too much. And we see Smithy, once again, trying to line up for that blue buff. Is not going to be able to steal it. Is going to go to Vladimir, who will, of course, appreciate the extra cooldown reduction, doesn't have the mana, but I think at that point they were just kind of in a rush to get it onto anyone. We do see a Zhonya's from Vladimir. So Zhonya's, a popular item in these last couple of games, but it's in particular effective against a Karthus because you can avoid his ultimate. So now Vladimir essentially has two ways to avoid that Karthus ultimate and become invulnerable for, almost entire team fight. 2 seconds from Sanguine Pool and 2 seconds from that Zhonya's Hourglass.
Yeah, that extra 2 seconds goes a long way in the heat of the battle. You might see that low hit point guy, you're like, I can wait 2 seconds, and then 2 seconds go by, you didn't do anything, and the rest of your team's dropping like flies. It really is a long time when it comes down to the heat of battle. So, it might not be the best offensive option, but at the same time, it affords a lot of armor. You got Jace, you got Graves, and those are two really big reasons to be stacking armor if you're going to be a squishy mid, and of course the invulnerability, as you did say. It does remind me a little bit of when I saw a Nunu pick up a Zhonya's That doesn't work with his ultimate whatsoever, just so you guys
Right.
know.
Just so you know, do not try it. Do not attempt it home. Not a good combination. I could see why it would be a good item otherwise, but yeah, certainly doesn't combine with his ultimate quite as well. Vladimir, of course, can just go into his pool, use his ultimate, go into his pool, go into that Zhonya's Hourglass, and still he's going to get that second proc of Hemoplague off, regardless of what he does in the meanwhile.
Now, what I find very interesting is that we actually took the top tower, and that's why Jace is down here in this lane. I mean, Miyazaki might be winning in the farm, but she did lose her tower, either roaming, or she was just not there that often, or Jace is just some kind of god that we weren't watching. But at the same time, we are gearing up for what might be a 5-on-5, probably our first team fight. And as I say that, it does look like maybe we just want to stock up on some of these buffs before we go that distance.
Yeah, absolutely. Orbit, probably a little bit hesitant about, engaging in a team fight. Wish is up, Karthus' ultimate is up. Essentially everything is ready for both teams, but wow, it looks like it's going to be an early Baron here, but they are kind of getting surrounded here. Lemonation getting a little bit caught out.
Yeah, there's the ultimate going down from Maokai. We are going to be doing a lot onto Nubby Pooh Bear. Doesn't get that Zhonya's off. Indeed does drop. And Jace going head-to-head with Yazuki, but Yazuki with the better farm is going to be able to just take him down. Now, Balls is going to be sitting here with Karthus, and it might be enough to pick him up. There goes that flash. Maokai was able to take down his counter-jungling partner, that Nautilus. He is going to be trying to go for the invade, the intercept, and it is going to be enough. There is no tower. He does not have to worry whatsoever, and by the end of it all, 2 for 4. Pretty good showing.
How exactly did Nunu get away in that battle? That's what I'm really wondering about, because he doesn't have flash. Yes, Blood Boil, but he doesn't have flash. He was actually the one that was caught out, channeled his ultimate, was in the battle for a really long time, but I guess it's just a, matter of great focus by mTw.NA. They're just like, okay, well, let's not worry about this Nunu. Obviously, the support, not a high priority target to take down, so the only escapee from Orbit is that Nunu. They do avert the Dragon attempt, but it might only be momentarily. A really great showing of that team fight capability from mTw.NA, and of course, Karthus ultimate, Soraka ultimate, really strong. Even if you're standing next to each other, you don't have to use it from lanes and lanes away. It can be equally as effective in those team fights as we just saw. And as you mentioned, right in the middle of the team fight battle, Vladimir not being able to use that Zhonya's. I don't know if he was silenced from Soraka or what, or he possibly could have just been taken down too quickly, but certainly not a stellar showing from him. And now that was a lost team fight, and they lost their Oracle, have not been able to pick up another one yet, so they're losing out on that map presence as well. Once mTw.NA wants to get their way, they can certainly go up, clear Baron out again, and force another team fight. We'll probably wait until that Karthus Requiem ultimate is back up and that Wish is up from Soraka.
You do bring up a good point. I mean, we do have 2 silences that we can put out here from mTw. The Karthus wall, the Soraka silence. We got multiple knockups, Maokai, Jace. So it could have been any factor to really stop the triggering of that Zhonya's. But I do think it is, as you say, for the Nunu. It's just like, oh, well, there's Nunu. Okay, we caught him. Oh, there goes the ultimate. We stopped it early. He's not going to do anything else. So let's focus Vlad, who can really hurt. And worked out, 4 for 2.
Yeah.
They didn't get the Baron, but, he's alive. Do it another day. It's cool.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, they seem to just be waiting now. Balls getting a little extra farm down bottom lane. He is up to 213 now. Actually, just a tiny bit ahead of Corki. And Corki's actually 3-2. Balls 2-2-5. But how is the global gold overall? They're incredibly close, 200 per. But actually, this looks to be the first mTw.NA taken Dragon. Of course, one of the reasons why Jace was able to take that top turret so early is because Yazuki came down bottom for that Dragon twice. And so they had picked up the 2 previous ones, but now they are down about 5,000.